Okay, let's go.
Well, hello there, Chick Chat. We are back with Sister Wives episode 5. Part of me wishes we weren't because this episode was TMI, but here we are. So we're starting the episode off with Cody and Robyn going to visit the little twin bebés, and he's excited. And you know what? I can't help but think when I see this scene, one, how sad it kind of is now that him and Mykelti aren't as close, and two, how sad it is for his other kids to see him be all hyped to go visit Mykelti.
I know. It's like they make this big show about him going to visit one of his children out of 18.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad.
And I found out Mykelti isn't even getting paid for this. No. So it's like, she's just volunteering all this.
She does have a Patreon, so I'm sure she gets some exposure from the Patreon through this show. But yeah, she doesn't get paid for any of this. It's just the parents.
Yeah, well, apparently she's the only child that understands or knows the truth. Robyn got me with this. Robyn said that Mykelti is maybe one of the only kids that understands that there's two sides to every story. I'm like, okay, good. Stop there, Robyn. Mm-hmm. She knows more of the truth. And I'm like, oh, right. What's the truth to you?
That's exactly what I was thinking too. What is it that you think is the truth that she knows? Or is she just genuinely being neutral like Cody was kind of saying? And eventually in the episode, Christine chimes in and says that she thinks the kids should take a page out of Mykelti's book because she isn't afraid to ask for what she needs. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's a valid point. Again, the relationship ideally should be that Cody would offer what she needs and she wouldn't have to ask for it. But he is the father of 18 kids. And I think it is important to be able to ask for what you need.
True. But I also think all the other kids, the reason that they're not is because Mykelti's the only one that established a bond with Robyn. In order to have that relationship with Cody, you would have had to establish a bond with Robyn, which I don't think is totally fair. Yeah. And I kind of side-eye Robyn in that way because it's like, how come you have, 12 other kids, 13 other kids, and the only one you've established a bond with is one?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I think even Meri's got more friends than that in the family.
Not in a televised fashion. It still seems like she's on the island by herself, but I do think in real life that more of the kids talk to Meri right now than they do Cody. I think you're probably right about that.
Probably.
And yet he has this idea when he's at Mykelti's house that he wants to build this big home for everybody and have everybody maybe come stay all at once if they want to. So you're saying you want to live in what, like a 10 to 15 bedroom home?
And that's like the mega home he was trying to get them into when they were leaving Vegas, and he was pitching that big home idea. Technically, if they have the money at this point and they paid off the property, they could do that. But like you said, it's not developed. That's a lot of money.
Especially for a big house, and especially when the relationships are not there to actually invest physical money into a home. And I don't mean that in a mean way for any side, but that's not a financially responsible thing to do. And I think Cody is incredibly financially irresponsible, but I don't think he would go that far. The only relationship that he has is with Mykelti. And even when he suggests this, she has this funny cough of, oh, no way in hell.
She saw he already had a child move closer to him and then he just moved away.
True.
So why put in that effort?
That's also true.
When he can come see you in Utah and you're closer to your mom and your siblings and all that being in Utah, why move to Flagstaff at this point when everybody's scattered? And then it became, oh, well, you can come hang out there. And she's like, we'll come visit, but we don't want to live in it.
Why would anyone want to go back and live with Cody?
And they'll be forced to spend all these holidays with them too, because there won't be no reason not to. After what we saw this episode with Robyn and her hostage video, like, yeah, I wouldn't want to.
Yeah, I'm shocked that Robyn did have a hostage video, huh? I'm shocked that Robyn did not beg Mykelti and Tony to come spend Christmas with them based on the way that she's feeling by the end of this episode. I'm sure it's probably just a given that they're going to spend Christmas with Christine, but I don't know. I guess we'll see what actually happens on Christmas and where everybody's at. They're probably going to give us that little side-by-side like they did for Thanksgiving, so we shall see.
They have 2 newborns as well, so traveling with them is like, yeah.
That's also true. Very, very, very true.
And they decided to use this scene to test my willpower and my actual gag reflexes when they talked about Mykelti's placenta. I'm telling you guys, when they showed that placenta on the screen, I had to take a break. I had to pause. I almost threw up. Like it's one thing to talk about it, but it's another thing to see the damn thing with the bite taken out of it.
That was the part, and Tony was like, and it was huge. And I thought that he was referring to the bite she took out of it, but he was referring to the actual placenta itself. The whole thing was huge. And yes, I'm sure it is. I have not had a child yet.
Me neither, but it made me not want to.
I could see consuming your placenta encapsulated or something like that. Taking a chunk out of it raw is another level of humanness that I think I have regressed in that fashion. And then she said they put another chunk of it in a smoothie.
Yeah, that's gross to me too. Absolutely not. I don't know. I'm like you said, I've never had a child, but even the way Tony reacted to that, he was like,
the smoothie part got Tony too, because that part was just a lot. It really was.
But like Christine said, I mean, animals do. It's not like the most uncommon thing to eat your placenta. I originally got introduced to that idea from the Kardashians because Kourtney was eating her placenta and trying to pretend that she was having everyone else eat it. When she cooked brisket, she's like, oh, it's placenta.
I know, that was actually really ridiculous too. And Caitlyn, back when Caitlyn was Bruce, was pissed at the time.
I would be too.
Absolutely pissed. I would be as well. I don't think I would want to
took the most pieces of it.
That's true. That's true. I don't think I would want to eat somebody else's placenta. I do think, and again, this is probably just my lack of life experience, but Robyn had said something to Mykelti about she had taken a bite out of it because she was bleeding a lot, like hemorrhaging. Maybe that is helpful. Placenta is an incredibly helpful thing for lots of things. Like it can cure all kinds of skin ailments and postpartum depression, and you can donate your placenta. It heals people's all kinds of things, their burns, their eyes, I don't know. I was reading about it actually probably a month or two ago, and it's pretty interesting stuff.
I'm totally for getting mine encapsulated and consuming it that way. I don't know how you go about it, but I would love to actually do that. I'll probably set that all up to get them encapsulated because I know it's really, really good for postpartum depression and it's got a lot of health benefits to it. But just seeing the dang thing with the bite, and I think the bite was big too. I just think placentas are big, so that's a big enough bite to me. I just and to be Tony and witness her doing that, because I'm sure he saw it happen. That man, he was having a whole PTSD flashback.
He was, and I can't believe they really showed us that photo too. It was just.
I even told Brooke, I'm glad she didn't get a photo of it because I don't want to re-traumatize you guys.
Yeah, I thought about it, but then we'd have to throw it up here while we're talking about it and make my stomach hurt. Yeah. Then they take the opportunity to just piggyback off of these weirdo conversations and start talking about breastfeeding people's kids. And I know that Tony brought this up, I think, also as a joke before, because they did do the flashback of Tony asking, oh, I heard in your culture you guys just pass around babies and breastfeed them. And it did seem like it was more of a joking fashion. But what was hilarious to me is that everyone denies that this is actually the truth. Meri says that she's done it on a medical necessity, which I've heard that is a thing too. And it's not like women that have done this are doing this because they're weird. They're doing it probably because somebody is low on milk. But everyone says no. And then we get to Robyn.
She's like, I'm going to shock you guys. I was the first woman in the world to do it. I mean, she didn't say in the world, but that's what I got.
Yes, that's what she was talking about with the placenta. Yes. And then with the breastfeeding thing, she's it's true. In our culture, we do. It's not a cultural thing. There are people outside of polygamy, outside of your weird church that have breastfed other women's babies out of medical necessity, out of whatever. That's not something that I'm here to judge or anything. But the fact that Robyn is over here acting all kind of like cute and weird and, oh, it's true, we do it in our culture. I've seen it sometimes. It's like she's trying to act like it's taboo because it's in their culture, but it's not.
Well, she's never done it with her sister wives because they weren't having babies by the time she came in. So she's speaking on either her moms or something, either way. What I found interesting was Christine said she only breastfed her kids. So she's like, no, that didn't happen in our family. But Meri says I breastfed out of necessity. And then Janelle says she didn't have enough milk to do that. So I'm like, okay, obviously Meri did one of Janelle's kids and Christine might not have known about it. I put that well, Meri's only had one child. So that really narrows it down to who she was breastfeeding. And my thought is that it must have been Madison.
Right.
Sorry, Madison. But I think I figured it out.
That's okay.
Because when you look at the kids' timelines, Logan was born in May of 94. Then you have Aspen, March of 95. And then you have Leon, July of 95. And then you have Madison, November of 95. So either Aspen or Madison. But it wasn't Aspen because Christine says she did her own. So Madison, unless Logan was still on the stuff.
No, I think if it was anyone's kids, it would have had to have probably been Janelle's because Janelle sounded like she couldn't produce enough milk as it is. And women do that. I don't think women in this religion, just women in general. I'm not saying it's common or typical or whatever, but I just hate that Robyn is trying to make it all this weird religion.
It's not as common just to throw them right on your boob, but I think it is very common to give them your breast milk. I've seen it actually around here. I live on a military base, so there's a ton of army wives and stuff like that. A lot of stay-at-home moms, whatever. There's groups just where these people can exchange breast milk and stuff. I saw somebody post literally like 4 days ago. I'm running low on my supply. Like, I want to be able to feed my baby. I want to be able to get breast milk. Somebody help me out. And like, there's like 10 comments in there like, yeah, girl, I got it. I'm like, wow, this is real common around here. That's common, but I don't think it's as common to just slap them right on you, bitty.
So true.
So yeah, that was just a lot of information. I'm like, okay, we can get past all this, please. I'd much rather hear about how horrible Kody is of a parent than all this.
Yeah. So we get like a teeny tiny blurb. Christine pops in to tell us about her and David's second date. Mm-hmm. She says that she was up all night long and couldn't sleep because she was nervous about telling him about her past.
I bet. But the man can literally Google her, so I don't know why she'd be that nervous. Also, from what we know now with the daughter, she said, oh, it's Christine, you should go on a date with her.
Yeah, he already knew who she was, but it's obviously important that she tells him who she is, so I'm glad. I think it's important she does it quickly too. So I think the second date was appropriate. She liked him enough to make sure that he was okay with that. And then I did think it was cool to see her initial reaction because we had found out in the wedding special that his sisters also lived plural marriage. Mm-hmm. But I thought it was cool to see her reaction. That shit scared her at first.
You don't want to live it, right? And he's like, oh, no. I thought that was nice.
She keeps going on about how solid he is, that he's such a good guy.
We've seen a little bit of David now, and he does seem pretty solid, like he's a good guy. It's funny to see all this actually play out now. We do know that it moves quite fast.
Really fast. This was just trivia from other seasons. Kody and Christine didn't want Mykelti to get married when she got married because her and Tony didn't know each other for very long, and Christine has known David for less time than they have by the time that they get married. So I just think that that's funny how quickly things have moved with David, but I do think that David's a great guy.
In fact, Christine even lied about how long she knew David, just so Mykelti wouldn't be as hard on her. But she knew him even less time than what she was telling Mykelti and her kids.
They're gonna know now. They know now. They start off the conversation with Janelle and Gabe. There's not a whole lot because they do get into more of that later on.
Always get the worst photos of Janelle.
I know. She makes these faces. It's like me. And I'm not trying to dog Janelle. I'm not photogenic either. But she always makes these faces. I make faces like this too.
Her eyes are always closed. Sorry, Chick Joe. This is how we catch the photo of her. I mean, she's just yeah. Gabe comes over, and the fact is that they have removed a lot of scenes because Garrison was in them. So we're not probably going to see any scenes like this with Garrison. They've removed anything that included him.
Yeah,
which I think is kind of sad. I think I get it because family's still in mourning, and it's probably going to be really hard to see him. But it would also be nice to kind of preserve his memory in that way. But then again, if he's talking about his deteriorating relationship with his dad, it's a lot. So I can see why he is removed. But yeah, Gabe comes over and they talk about pretty much Kody and Cody's lack of relationship with him and all the other kids and Robyn and everything like that. And Gabe is in therapy. Yeah, because the school made it, what was it? Abatable. And I looked it up beforehand. I think that means that it reduces something, not makes something open. So I think she just used the wrong word, but available, I think is what she's trying to say. Yeah, that's what she meant. I get you now.
Yeah, she's cute.
So they were cooking up breakfast. I thought that was really cute to see them cooking breakfast together. He cooked it and she watched.
I know. Well, and that's so Janelle, right? Her kids do tend to kind of take care of her. She doesn't do a lot of the domestic things. Like you can catch her outside and stuff, sweeping or doing some gardening. But I rarely see Janelle cook a whole lot. So even when Gabe came in, he's like, "Oh, I can cook it. It's okay," because he knows that that's not his mom's thing to do. So I thought that was cute, and they just seem to have such a wholesome connection with each other. And I found myself thinking of Garrison when I was watching this because I know that there has to have been conversations like this between the two of them, and it just breaks my heart for them.
Oh yeah, and even all this with Gabe too. I think what they're referring to is that time Kody texted him when he was on the mountain or whatever he was talking about.
Yeah.
And Gabe said, if you want to move forward in this relationship, you need to own up to the things you've been doing. Yeah. And Kody took a couple days and then responded, yeah, I've been thinking about what you're saying. I forgive you. I'm like, sir, no one apologized to you.
I know.
You don't need an apology to move forward. You just don't.
Yeah.
You can just decide to move forward. Yeah. Maybe explain yourself and be like, you know what? I can see where you're coming from, even though I don't feel that way. This is why this is, or whatever. But to just be like, oh, I forgive you. Can you forgive me? Okay. I guess that's a better step than what he's been doing, but
I'm not sure if it is, because Gabe doesn't have any problem not talking to him if he's not willing to take some accountability for what happened. So for Kody to just say, oh, I forgive you, that's kind of a non-starter. That's not what Gabe is looking for from him at all. I think that made it worse.
Well, and earlier this season, Kody was saying one of his biggest regrets was how he treated the boys. And it's like, that's great. Build on that. Yeah. You already admitted it.
That's why I just don't believe Kody. A part of me wants to believe this real simple COVID narrative that all Janelle's kids have going on, where Kody used COVID as an excuse to just be with his favorite wife and stay with her forever. Mm-hmm. Part of me kind of believes that. I think it's a little bit too simple of an excuse for a whole family to break apart. I mean, I was watching those seasons. Kody was not interested in hanging out with Janelle much. He was definitely still just making that thing where he's with Robyn all the time, worse and worse and worse. And then he completely told Janelle, I'm not coming over for God knows how long, because you won't kick our sons out of your home.
Well, if it's brown and it stinks,
it's probably
That's my favorite line of all time, I think. Thank you, Gabriel.
I know.
I never thought of that.
So Kody does apparently deny this whole idea of Robyn's my favorite wife and da-da-da. And apparently there was some talk going on, some gossip, as Kody likes to call it, or rumor, that Kody had said that he had wished he only married Robyn.
Yeah, and he denies that. And I'm like, okay, well, something's got to stem from somewhere. Any gossip does. But my thing is, this man's job this entire time was to negate anything anybody says. Gabriel said they had this conversation. Kody said it didn't even happen. Right. There was one point where they talk about Meri. He says that didn't even happen.
So that's why I hate that they just kind of go back and forth in these confessionals, but at the same time, it's so funny because you can see how everyone has just a completely different outlook. And sometimes everyone will have the same outlook and then one other person, like the thing with the breastfeeding. It was as if the OG3 were, no, that doesn't really happen. I've never done it. Meri said she did it once, but it wasn't really a thing. And then Robyn says, it happens. We do it all the time.
It's like, you've never done it, ma'am. What are you talking about? Yeah. It's interesting. They live in a different dimensional field, a lot of them.
They sure do.
Yeah, hard to even know what to believe sometimes, because I'm like, okay, the truth is somewhere in the middle, right? I lean more towards the kids and the OG3, but I'm always down for a good listen. I love when Kody goes into his denials. It makes me question reality. So I love it.
Yeah, I mean, that's why the show is entertaining, right? There's so many sides to the story. There's not just 2 sides to the story. There's 20-something sides to the story. And everybody has their own perspective, and everyone is mostly entitled to that. Everyone's experiences are different. I think the Browns are such an interesting family, even if they're broken up, almost now, especially. We do start to get into this release talk. We will come back to Janelle and Gabe finishing up their conversation. Meri lets us in on her little termination.
She got her marriage terminated through the church. She apparently met with the elders. She texted Kody about it, but he didn't respond in typical Kody fashion. And apparently they decided to let her release from her marriage on the grounds of abandonment, which I think is totally valid. But
absolutely. What else would it be? I wanted to blame. Sorry.
I don't want to call it abandonment. It's 10 years.
So Kody has his reasons. He has his reasons for everything. He blamed Robyn for his abandonment this time. His most loyal wife, he blames for his abandonment. He said, Robyn felt like if I waited on God, that we would just come back together. And you know what? He actually apologized to Meri for waiting so long. But in this buffer of blaming Robyn for all of his waiting and waiting, no. If you've known that your relationship was over forever, like you said you were, then you would not be sitting in there talking about, well, let's be honest, I was just worried about what she was going to do.
Yeah, two things. One, you were waiting and not doing a damn thing in the meantime. You can't just sit in a room and wait and expect something to happen. It's not going to happen that way. It's just not. And two, it must be easy to sit there and wait and let Meri wait for 10 years when you have 3 other wives to fill your needs. Like, no, in a normal marriage, it wouldn't last like that. Imagine being with your husband and he just like waits for things to change. Like,
that's what's happened with Meri for so effing long. I'm so excited to see whatever conversation is going to go down with them next episode.
I think that's where he says, well, I never loved you. I just...
Yeah, like Meri.
Blame yourself.
I don't know. Well, yeah, that might be it too. But anyways, back to this episode. So the other OGs react to the divorce, and Janelle, she acts so ignorant almost when it comes to this kind of stuff. She is an intelligent woman. She's always been the working one, the resourceful one, the one who is kind of generally the most intelligent or seems to be that way. They look to her for those kinds of things. And all of a sudden when it comes to a divorce, I don't know how to do that. I don't even know who to talk to. It's just
ask Meri.
Yeah, ask somebody.
She's like, oh, well, that's great for you. I didn't even know it was an option for us, which I can understand maybe not knowing it was an option. But now that Meri's done it, yeah, it's an option. I mean, y'all all been abandoned. I think now that the church knows that one wife has been abandoned, I don't think it's very hard for them to believe the rest of them have either.
Right.
And it's just not an issue for me. I think that's what you said a few episodes ago. She's just needing to get this money recouped somehow. I think she's just holding on until then. And I don't know if she does believe all these things, which she says she does. They're not really in that community anymore, but she still has her faith. She's always said, well, I still have my faith. I don't know what to do with my faith. So you want to be tied to Cody? Because you know you're going to get up to your resting place and see Cody and Robyn there. It's just going to be y'all.
Yeah.
Not even Meri.
They don't go to the celestial kingdom. They're still going to go to the one below it or whatever their religion says. So they're still tied together. Except Meri.
Meri got herself free. You don't even got her anymore. Not that you loved her or anything, but still. And then Christine's just like, I don't respect anything about that church, so I'm good.
I do think now that she's married to David, maybe there's different rules about that in their afterlife. I don't know. I think it's silly, all the different things that they come up with about how many wives you have to have and what levels of heaven you're going to and all of that. So who knows at this point? She doesn't even believe in any of it anymore, but does that really matter if something is... I don't know.
If you chick chatters know, let us know what will happen with Christine and David.
Yes.
What happens to all of them?
Yeah, true.
Because I couldn't imagine being stuck up there with Robyn at this point after everything that's happened. Then she gets her little front porch, and at the end of it all, no. Yeah. Stay off her porch. Oh, man.
Meri gets her release, and what's funny is Meri talks about how she doesn't want to be a bitter ex-wife, but so she's keeping quiet about it. Essentially, she's not going around bragging about it. She's disappointed about how Cody is talking about it, of course, and I don't blame her for that. But then it shows Janelle popping up, and she goes, oh yeah, so Cody called me about something, and he decided to let me know that Meri got the release and all of that, and that's how Janelle found out. And we're talking about how gossip ruined your family, but you're spreading gossip to Janelle. She was right. He does leak like a sieve. He is just spreading all the family information to Janelle. I think him and Janelle have always had that kind of confidant, sort of friendly relationship. So I think it's just natural to him to do that with her.
It's probably easier to tell her than Robyn. I mean, Robyn's going to have a whole meltdown over it, which, I mean, she does know because she was in the car with him when he got the call from the leaders. And she's like, and he cried tears over Meri. In the next scene, oh, I was just so relieved.
So heartbroken, but so relieved.
I was like, this man didn't shed a tear, Robyn. Stop gaslighting us into what you want to believe. You want to believe that Cody is in love with Meri. You want to believe that there's still a chance there, to the point where he's blaming you for him waiting around this long. Like, this man.
True, and that's where he tries to accuse Meri of never being loyal to him, ever. Yeah, are you serious, sir? What were the last 32 years? Let's be honest. It doesn't sound like you guys were ever really in that much of a loving marriage if that's how you're framing it. So what were the last 32 years?
All those Rice Krispie treats wasted. Wasted. Like, what? This woman would have moved fire, water, earth, air. She would have became a whole bender just to get back in your good graces at this point. I think she always blamed herself because of the catfish thing. And it's like, no, I think Cody was so happy when she got into all that catfish stuff because then it gave him an excuse to not try anymore.
Exactly. That's my thought. I think Meri was the most loyal one. Meri did her whole catfishing thing because she was lonely, because he had already abandoned her at that point. And you're right, he just used that as an excuse from there on out to sort of dangle her along because he can't get a divorce himself.
Do you know how loyal of a wife you have to be to invite other women into your marriage and not get anything out of that in return? Not get any other men in your marriage? Nothing?
Nothing.
She was scouting women for you. She was the most loyal.
The most.
She could have been the hardest person to live with, but I would say that woman was the most loyal. She got you your precious gift from above, Robyn.
Yeah. She conjured her up her damn self.
I can't.
So we move back into Gabe and Janelle conversation. We find out that when Savannah gets married, she would like her brothers to walk her down the aisle. And I think that that's very telling because it doesn't seem like Savannah has too bad of a relationship with Kody, other than the fact that they don't seem to see each other very much. Doesn't Janelle live in Flagstaff still right now? Aren't they still nearby? So why is he this weird distant father that just shows up once in a while? Why is Savannah not hanging out at their house a whole bunch?
I don't know, but I know one thing is she's going to need a big aisle. She got a lot of brothers.
She does have a lot of brothers, and she is going to need a large aisle. Did you hear or see Janelle and Christine have been going around doing some media tours and podcasts, and somebody asked Christine to describe Kody in 3 words, and deadbeat and dad were the first 2 words that she said.
I think, yeah, deadbeat dad, they go together.
They do go together. Well, she said it together, and then she said, oh, that's 2 words. Okay, well, that's 2 words. Janelle and Christine have been going around. I think it's in hopes of getting their spinoff. I think they're really still hoping to get a spinoff and not really love that. It would be so much more refreshing and light. This show is really starting to get sad. I mean, the final part of this conversation with Janelle and Gabe is sad to me. Then we see Robyn's hostage video. That is sad to me too. Even though I have a hard time feeling bad for Robyn, it's still sad to me that she is crying real tears. She's either a really good actress or whatever, but we see a lot of people. It was like giving Amber Portwood tears. It wasn't to me because I was looking at her. I'm like, she looks really sad.
Well, I think she looked sad, but I mean, I didn't really see like actual tears. I thought she was more like, I want my Christmas is gonna be perfect.
And you know what's funny is the producers or whoever, the editors, they went back and showed all the perfect Christmases she had for the last 4 or 5 whatever years that she's been with Kody, where all the family was together.
Yeah, but they only really showed like 2 or 3.
Yeah, but those were her perfect Christmas. She's just said she'll never be able to get it. Like, what's different right now about what she had 2 years ago?
Robyn, you're in your 40s. You've had many Christmases. I think it's more about your kids and all these kids having a perfect Christmas. Not about you having a perfect Christmas or Kody having a perfect Christmas. I mean, just that woman.
So we did skip ahead a little bit, but pretty much what we get out of the rest of the Gabe and Janelle conversation is that Gabe actually misses Robyn's kids, and he would like to have a relationship with them if that were possible. And that made me feel kind of sad because I don't know why that's really not possible.
I think it is. I just think that it would involve Robyn not jumping in on these group chats anymore. I think if they kept it to the kids, if the kids were able to discuss amongst themselves, they might get somewhere. But the way Robyn and Kody have been going about all this and inserting themselves, and I think that was crazy that Robyn even inserted herself in that way, but to each their own. Just obviously doesn't have a full-time job or any type of job to keep her mind elsewhere. She's really just focused on this 24/7 all the time.
Yeah, so Gabe essentially declares that he doesn't see any hope or chance of having a relationship with his dad or with Robyn. He does hope for a relationship with Robyn's kids, but he has some flexibility in talking about how if they were ever able to take some accountability or whatever, I guess that there might be a chance, but he's pinning her on the whole victim complex thing, and it doesn't make any sense to anyone who lives in the family and has experienced the scarcity because of how much she has been favored, and that's just a fact, whether that's in time or relationship effort or whatever. People do experience scarcity because Robyn is so heavily favored. I cannot blame him for feeling this way at all. That if you can't recognize that and stop blaming me for being angry about it, why on earth would I have a relationship with you? And that's facts.
What's interesting to me is he's missing Robyn's kids, right? But wasn't it just like an episode or two ago where she's like, and they didn't accept me and my kids? Like, I think the kids were accepted.
I think so. Well, and that's the thing is Gabe's over here saying the whole dynamic all the time was that Robyn was the favorite and we needed to work on the relationship with her kids because we needed to be one whole family. And so the fact that Robyn is doing this whole victim, me and my kids complex is just ridiculous. Oh, it's crazy.
I feel bad for the kids, really. I feel bad for the kids that Robyn's kids are stuck in Kody and Robyn's world where they're being told that nobody accepted them. And I'm sure their experience might have just been the opposite. It's just, it's sad.
I think so.
We get Robyn's bathroom hostage video where she is upset about not having a big Christmas, which I don't think last year was a big Christmas. She thinks just because Meri's there, it's like so much
family experience.
Because Meri's there, that's the only difference the last 2 years is Meri's been there.
I think somebody else's, was it Truly that was there? Somebody else's younger kids were there. It was either Truly and Savannah or Truly.
But I think they showed up later.
Yeah, some other kids were there.
I think it was Isabel, Truly, and Savannah were there for part of the day.
It was Isabel because she looked very uncomfortable because she's very angry at her father, rightfully so.
It wasn't long after that surgery debacle.
Yep.
So she's crying without tears, but upset. At least I didn't see no tears. I don't know, maybe y'all saw some, but I didn't.
Let us know in the comments the tear count.
She's got her little headphones in the bathroom. And I'm like, is Cody like listening on the other side of the door? Where is he?
I was wondering where Cody was too. I'm like, where is this man? Is he gonna come find you in here and start yelling at you for crying?
Or God forbid, go to the bathroom and just see you on the floor? And he's
God forbid, yeah.
Like, nope, never mind, wrong room.
So Robyn is completely and utterly heartbroken. She says that all her dreams are washed away. She doesn't see her future anymore. It sounded pretty dreadful, pretty stressy, depressy to me. So I'm a little concerned for Robyn at this point. If you don't see your future anymore, those are concerning thoughts to have for any human. So I do feel bad for her if this is true. She's obviously going through a hard time, and that's got to be really difficult when you want to wake up in the morning and create a sweet experience for the remainder of your family that isn't gone.
It irks me every time these people call it a family experience. It's not.
There's so many experiences. I noticed that in this episode, that is their word that they use because Cody keeps talking about how the divorce is a horrible experience and Robyn is a family experience and a sweet experience and a loving experience.
You're not in a simulation. This is your life. It's not experience.
It's not for the experience. It's for life. It's for reality and actual real world. I don't know. I can't even say words.
It triggers me so bad because she's like, Cody, I can tell he's heartbroken over not having the family experience. And I'm like, stop using that term.
Yeah.
He should be heartbroken over the way his life has turned out, not about the experience. It's not all about having an experience. These people are not here for you to have an experience with. They are not Sims.
Although we do play with the Browns.
Yes, we do. I'm glad we could put some of y'all on that too.
Yes, you're welcome. It's been truly enjoyable for me.
Truly. No pun intended.
Yes, truly. I can't wait to have Truly.
I haven't gotten that far. But go back to Robyn in the bathroom. I do want to say, Robyn, her whole life may be going to crap, but that girl got volume in that hair. Like, I want to know what product she uses.
Thank you. I almost forgot to mention that. They said this was 1 o'clock in the morning, supposedly, according to the producers. And her hair is shloop, shloop. Her face is looking, the way Robyn's face usually looks.
She's got a full face of makeup on. I mean, she got foundation and eyeliner.
Did she sleep with her hair and makeup like this, or was this just the end of her sob and Robyn day? She ended up in the bathroom, or what's going on? How did you do her hair for this?
All I know is I want to know how she gets all that volume. It's just up.
You're right. It is
ruining my own hair to do that.
Yeah.
But
it looks like the Smart Mom and Smart House.
She does. She could be fixing Cody's hair. I mean, his hair is horrible at this point. And y'all seen that weird bald spot thing going on. He avoids showing it, but we know it's there.
Yeah. Well, he drains his little curls over. I wish that this wasn't on the top of his head right now because it would be a good picture to bash his forehead. There we go.
He never looks down anymore, but you can kind of tell on the sides there. You got that little flash head band.
Oh yeah, it's definitely gone. So Cody admits that he sold Robyn a lie.
He sold them all a lie.
A lie that he doesn't even care to try to maintain anymore for the remainder of his existence in life. So
literally, Robyn, he sold Meri a lie. He sold Janelle a lie and Christine a way bigger lie than Robyn. At least he's still with her.
Well, I don't know. I think that the lies actually get bigger as it goes on to Robyn because if, according to Cody's narrative, he only had 1 wife that he hated, and then he got 2 wives that he hated, and then 3. And then he told his 4th wife that everything was hunky-dory and great, and he had 3 wives, meanwhile, that he hated. or didn't love or whatever. So I feel like that's a bigger lie to say I'm in love with my family as your family gets larger.
I think the biggest lie he sold was his own kids. I mean, he invalidated their whole existence by saying he never loved their mothers.
So true. And now he wants to turn around and basically blame them for being angry about that I didn't love your mother enough. That is not the effing problem.
Even if it was the problem, I'm sorry, if my dad called me and said he never loved my mom, I probably would be annoyed too. Like,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, I'm sorry, it's just that's what it is. Like, if you tell me something like that, I don't care. That's gonna annoy me. Like,
and it's one thing if maybe you grew up and your parents were never together, but yeah, if you grew up in a household where your parents were together and went to bed in the same bed every night or a couple nights a week in this case, and then they was just like, yeah, I never loved her or enjoyed the time that we were together. No, absolutely. Yeah. That would make your whole life feel like a damn lie.
Especially for Christine's kids who said that Kody wasn't around as much for them. It would fill in those blanks like, oh, so that means you don't really care about me because you don't like my mom. And that's half of who I am.
Right.
Like, what?
Kody's trash, just straight up trash.
Mykelti was upset with the way he talked about all my kids this and all my kids that because it included Truly and people who really didn't do anything to him, like Truly, Isabel, Gwendolyn, and all these people who don't have their frontal lobe all whatever she said.
She was very into the frontal lobe in that conversation. Yeah,
she was. She's like, all these people's frontal lobes aren't even developed, and I agree with her, but it's a way to put it. But yeah, none of them did anything wrong to him, but to each their own, I guess. I think the one who should be the most upset would probably be Leon. Look at the way Leon's mom has been completely treated. I know Leon and Meri don't always get along, but the way that Meri has been treated for 10 years, if I was Leon, I'd be like, screw that guy, I don't even know him.
I know Leon had a big problem with the catfishing and stuff like that and really blamed Meri for a lot of that. So I wonder if Leon has kind of a different view maybe of what's going on. Yeah. Not one where Leon is happy with Kody, but I think one where Leon is not happy with either of their parents.
Well, maybe they might understand why the catfishing thing happened at this point, because Meri's been neglected for this long.
Well, that's what Meri was trying to tell Leon in the first place. This is not a quality relationship. This is why I was doing this online, and they didn't want to hear nothing about it.
Well, Leon's frontal lobe wasn't really developed then. They were going by a whole different gender and name and everything like that. They weren't fully developed then, so yeah. Gotta give Leon a little slack on that area. I think now Leon might see a little bit more.
I hope so, because Meri needs her child.
Oh yeah, 100%. I really hope that their relationship is good and solid, because that's all Meri's really got at the end of the day. That's gonna always be there. It's sad because Meri founded this family on the hopes that she would have all of these kids like her, but I don't know what she'd be doing in that past. I would like to know more, but at the same time, I like Meri right now, so I don't really want to ruin that for me.
Right. That's true. That's true. So
what do we got for next time?
Well, before next time, Kody also, his only wish is that his marriage will be saved. I think it's just very important that we not miss this part, because we go through this whole episode talking about all these relationships again and all the things that could happen and how sweet and loving the relationship with Mykelti is when he tries. And then at the end of this episode, what we get to is, I just hope that we can save me and Robyn's marriage. And this is exactly why you're in the position that you're in, Kody Brown, because at the end of the day, all that you care about is you and Robyn. And if you could just own up to that and tell everybody that, there might be some people, not probably very many, but some more people in your family that would at least respect you for telling the truth.
Did we not learn anything last episode when Robyn said to fix their marriage, he needs to get better relationship with these kids? Like, it's not rocket science. Yeah. To fix Robyn, to save Robyn.
Yeah.
You just gotta bring some of these kids around. Oh my gosh. Like, it doesn't have to be like this.
So we're going to do the next review with this face, because why not? This is what they left us on. So
I don't see a single tear, though. I see a screen.
You're right. There were tears when she was in the confessional here.
Yeah, that looks teary.
There's a tear, and there was more. But you're right. Here, this could have been for show.
She's got double the eyeliner. I feel like I would have seen a smudge on her face if there were tears, but
you're right. You're definitely right about that. So next episode, we have Christine telling the kids about David, and for some reason, I feel like she's just telling them right then and there that she's about to get married, but she's just telling them that she met a guy, I think. And I think she's
equivalent for Christine, honestly.
Especially with David, yes. Things, like you said, moved quickly. And I think she's going to film their next date or some kind of date with David, because it looks like they're filming. Maybe not production filming, but I think she might pull out her phone and do a little introduction. So that'll be cute, even though we've already met him last year. Kody is going to go to Meri's house. We saw his truck pull up to the outside of Meri's house and tell her about how horrible it is to marry the wrong person, and expect, I don't know, some kind of sympathy from her or something, but she looks pissed.
You don't look good.
So I'm excited to see where that goes. I wonder if this is like you said, in the part where in the confessional he says that she should blame herself if he doesn't love her, it's definitely a possibility. Because I don't know how much more they're going to talk after this. I don't even know why he's going over there.
Well, if it's brown and
any chick chatters want to comment below and maybe guess why in the world Kody would be going over there? They're already divorced now. Christmas ain't Christmasing.
She might have
maybe
made
he's going over there to like her to come to Christmas so that Robyn stops crying.
No, this was Christmas Eve. So I assume that it was because she made some Rice Krispies and he smelled them from a mile away. He said, "Oh, I'll go see Meri just for 5 minutes."
Possible.
Or maybe she was going to give him back her photos or something.
That could be true, because that's what we left Meri on last. She was saying she was going to have to take everything down and out from the
chat. She still had all that up.
I know, Meri's a trip like that.
Well, we'll catch you on the next one, Chick Chat. We'll see you back here next week to keep going over this mess over and over and over and over and over again.
Until we die.
Until
we get to the Celestial Kingdom.
That's when we'll get our answers.
That's where we get the answers. All right, Chick Chat. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share the video, share it to your friends. Just click the share link and copy it. That also helps. Whatever it is that you'd like to do. And we will catch you on the next one.
All right. Reduce, reuse, recycle, Rihanna, and goodbye.